Okay, so I haven't done a video in a while. It's been very little to talk about. And there are two topics that I could talk about that I've touched on years ago, and I'm going to touch on one of them today. Lamar Jackson. All right, now I posted a video like 3 years ago talking about how Lamar Jackson is not as good as the pundits might say he is. It's not as good as the highlight reels might say he is. When it comes to NFL football, this is not college. When it comes to NFL football, you have to be somewhat of a traditional pocket passer to succeed in the league. When was the last time we've seen a strict mobile quarterback who spends at least 40% of his time, maybe 40 to 50% of his time scrambling in a game? Okay, you don't never see them win the Super Bowl. They never win the Super Bowl because it is incredibly easy compared to pocket passers. It's incredibly easy to game plan against them. They're very limited in what they can do. And Lamar Jackson is one of those guys. This is why we've never seen Michael Vick win a Super Bowl. No matter, I mean, Michael Vick is the pinnacle of mobile quarterbacks. I mean, not only was he fast as hell, elusive, but he had a rocket arm. It wasn't the most accurate at all, but his arm had incredible power to it, and we've never seen him win a Super Bowl. The furthest I ever seen him, the furthest I ever seen Michael Vick get was the sorry. Furthest I ever seen Michael Vick get was the NFC Championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles when he was in Atlanta, and they lost to the Eagles, and that was the year the Eagles went on to play New England. Um, you just don't see it. And I feel bad for Lamar, man, because this is a dude that was racial, like he was attacked almost racially because he was told he was told he should be a receiver or a running back, and those questions only come when you're talking about black quarterbacks, black scramblers. Okay, you're not talking about this when it comes to Andrew Luck, who was somewhat of a mobile quarterback. You're not talking about this with who else? I'm pretty sure when talking about Taysom Hill, it was never brought up that he should play receiver or he should play running back. I mean, I'm pretty sure that has never, even after Taysom converted to a running back, quarterback, receiver slash, like all utility guy. There have been years where people talked about signing him as, or pundits talked about teams signing him as a quarterback to play quarterback for them. I mean, you have some people talking about after Drew Brees retired that maybe Taysom Hill will take over at quarterback. You don't hear people talk that way about Braxton Miller. You don't hear people talk that way, or you didn't hear people talk that way about Terrell Pryor. Once they converted to a receiver or a running back, they stayed at that position, and you never talked about them being quarterbacks again. So let's hear what they have to say, and then I'll share my thoughts.
General manager Chris Ballard admitted, yep, the Colts considered taking a run at Lamar Jackson. He said, quote, anytime a special player is available, which he is, you've got to do the work. According to reports now, though, the Colts are more interested in drafting a QB with the 4th overall pick. Shannon, if you were the Colts.
Let me say this before they start. No one wants Lamar Jackson. Not for what they would have to give up. And if I'm a GM, I'm not willing to sign a quarterback for 200 million or 230 million, whatever guaranteed, and give up 2 first round picks. Either I'm going to trade pick. Well, no. Either I'm going to trade picks and sign him for maybe somebody had a good idea. You sign him for like 170 guaranteed, and then with incentives, you could tack on to that with play incentives, with injury incentives, shit like that. You can or play games, just whatever. You can sign him under something like that. But Lamar doesn't want that. Lamar wants guaranteed fucking money. And if I am an organization, I'm not paying that. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, I'm racist. Oh, it's about this or it's about that. No, he's just not the prototypical quarterback that you give guaranteed money to. The reason why Deshaun Watson was given that money was because Deshaun Watson has proven that he can play the quarterback position the way the quarterback position is supposed to be played. Deshaun Watson is one of the top passers in the league. Lamar is not that. He's a phenomenal runner of the football. He has an okay arm. I wouldn't say he's the most accurate. I wouldn't say he's the strongest arm. And the way he plays seems very limited to me. Okay, he relies far too much on his tight ends. Okay, he relies far too much on his legs. And unless a wide receiver is wide open, he's not making. I'm not gonna say all the time, but a majority of the time, he's not gonna make tight window throws. Okay, it's just not gonna happen. These are things when you look at your quarterback, you go, is this the guy that can lead my team to a Super Bowl? Have we ever seen a quarterback of this archetype lead a team to a Super Bowl? No.
Would you go after Lamar Jackson or would you draft a QB?
I would go after Lamar because I believe they have a defense that's ready to compete right now. Shaquille Leonard, DeForest Buckner. And so right
And this is another narrative that I hate. They try to make it seem like the teams are the reason why Lamar Jackson doesn't win. That's the reason why he didn't win because he didn't have a receiver, or the running game wasn't that good, or the defense wasn't that good. Baltimore, even after the retirement of Ray Lewis and the departure of Ed Reed, you saw, okay, they were able to maintain at least a top 15 defense. And they went after defensive stars coming out of college, like a Patrick Queen. They traded for a Roquan Smith, okay, who's a Pro Bowl caliber, linebacker. Okay, they have Marlon Humphreys. They have Marlon Humphreys, Marcus Peters. Even though Marcus Peters, to be honest, is an overrated corner, but he is one of the best playmakers in the league. He's overrated as a corner. Okay, I think if he converted to safety, he would be a lot better at that. Uh, they have a lot of talent all over the place, man. Okay, so to make the assumption that it's the team and not Lamar, even receivers. I mean, you got Rashawn Bateman, you had Marquise Brown. People tried to make it seem like Marquise Brown was some bum. He wasn't. Receivers are 100% dependent on the quarterback that they have. I mean, you have some receivers who are just so good, they can still look good. Even if they don't look great, they can still look good with subpar quarterback play. And Marquise Brown he's a really good receiver. In the right situation, he could be a whole lot better. Okay, and playing for Kyler Murray, playing for Lamar Jackson hasn't done wonders for his career so far.
now, they've been in quarterback. They're not in purgatory. They've been in quarterback hell since Andrew Luck retired. They've had 7 different starting quarterbacks, and combined record is 30, 31, 34, and 1. Phillip Rivers was the only quarterback to lead them to the postseason. And, once he didn't come back, he's like, yeah, I'm going to start coaching high school football. They've tried a plethora of quarterbacks, and none of them have worked. Lamar Jackson is 49 and 21 as a starter, former MVP, and he's still only 26 years of age. Philly hired Shane Steichen, who worked with Jalen Hurts.
He did.
So it's an offense that I don't think Lamar Jackson would have any problem picking up.
Nope.
Have no problem running to its maximum capacity. And so I do. I think they should. Now they say they're looking.
Look, I'm not going to shit all over Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts is a fine player. But I think that he was carried. Okay, he was carried by that team. Now that's not saying that they could win with anybody. All right, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, if his play has us viewing Jalen Hurts as a great player, okay, but the defense is top notch. The the offensive line is one of the best in the league. The receivers are top notch. The tight end is top notch. The running game is top notch. Now you have to diminish the effectiveness of the quarterback because of the talent that surrounds them. Okay. Now I'm not going. This is going to sound like blasphemy, but I'm going to say this anyway. I think Joe Montana was an incredibly overrated player. Okay, and that's because he was surrounded by Hall of Famers galore. I've never seen a team field that many Hall of Famers on both sides of the ball as we've seen the 49ers in the 80s and 90s do. And this is why they still won a Super Bowl after the fact. Steve Young wasn't good enough to turn around the Tampa Bay Bucks team. Steve Young wasn't good enough to beat out Joe Montana. But they still won the Super Bowl after Joe Montana left. They were still competitive after after Steve Young retired with Jeff Garcia and T.O. Okay, they did a great job of putting together a great team. Now you can make the argument, oh well, they didn't win until Joe Montana got there. Okay, but that doesn't diminish the fact that this dude was surrounded by top tier talent. Same thing goes for Jalen Hurts. If they win that Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts is not an all time great, in my opinion. I think that team is one of the greatest assembled teams of all time. You have a top five receiver in A.J. Brown, you have a top 15 receiver, I would say top 10 receiver, and Devontae Smith. You have Dallas Goddard, who is arguably one of the most underappreciated and underrated tight ends in the league. Don't hear much talk about him, and they still have one of the top offensive lines in the NFL. Okay, and when you look at that defense, you have ballers all over that defense. Now, again, they got to do a better job with the linebacker position, but I'm telling you, man, that defense is great, and it all starts with the trenches. That diminishes the impact that Jalen Hurts has had on that team.
Getting on the market, do they move up? Were they fourth, right? Mm-hmm. So they'll be able to get a quarterback, probably not Stroud or no. Bryce Young, no. But Will Levis or Anthony Richardson. And so they'll be able to get a quarterback, but to have a quarterback, a rookie quarterback, lead you, and no matter how great the quarterback, we've seen some rookie quarterbacks, Skip, be great, but not so much their rookie season.
I think the reason why we're seeing rookie quarterbacks now than we've ever seen in the past go to teams that instantly have success. Not even rookie, just young quarterbacks go to teams and have success within the first 2 or 3 years of their career there. Is because the game is easier. They tried to simplify the NFL game so much to try to replicate college football as much as possible. And that's what really separated the great players from the average players. Is that they tried to make it a seamless transition. So when rookie quarterbacks move up to the NFL, now you have, instead of having a Jake Locker, a Christian Ponder, instead of having guys like Cordell Stewart or the Chad Pennington, guys who are okay, but they never really lived up to that first round pick status or whatever. Now we're seeing Joe Burrows and we're seeing Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson and Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence and all these great players. The reason why is because the game is so easy compared to what it used to be, where the NFL was just day and night ahead of where college football is. And that was due to the mental aspect. NFL players are just smarter. They're more seasoned. Their bodies are more superior. They're more developed. and they have a level of understanding of the game that college players just don't have. Now they kind of simplified the game. I think the game might be worse now. It's far more entertaining, obviously, because it's a lot more often. I think the game is I think the game is a lot worse than it was. Defense isn't prioritized as much as it used to be. Before, you could say defense wins championships. Now it's you need a whole lot of offense and just a few defensive plays to win titles now.
And we look at Trevor Lawrence as a prime example. You look at him from his rookie season. Now maybe some of that was coaching. Maybe there was a lot of organizational things that were going on. He got some stability at that position, and you see why they took him number one overall. Joe Burrow, we don't know what really would have happened because he ended up getting injured. But normally rookie quarterbacks struggle. And so I do believe they should go after Lamar. The question is, again, Skip, those 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
And so with that, I know they're going to do it, Skip, because that means you're going to give up the 4th pick in the draft.
Yep.
That's the problem now. Skip, if that was the middle of the, let's just say for the sake of argument, they were picking somewhere like 17. Skip, you're picking top 5. You ain't really trying to get under, because we're going to talk about Bryce Young. You like, I'm definitely not giving up the 1st pick in the draft. So I think that's what the hesitancy is for the Colts, is that draft pick, that first one, is so high.
Okay. I got it. This is one you can't see the forest for the trees. The trees tell you, if you step back, that a 26-year-old MVP of a quarterback is available.
Yeah.
Former MVP. And this is the narrative used on Lamar Jackson that's really hurting. That's really hurting his chances of actually realistically being picked up by somebody, unless it's in free agency and for a reasonable price tag, is because he believes that he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Now, let me say this: he's one of the most talented, or he's probably one of the more exciting players to watch in the league. But is he one of the best? Is he one of the best quarterbacks in the league? Especially with him being hurt the last couple of years, is he really one of the best quarterbacks? Can you just throw him out there and trust that you're going to win the game? Especially if he's missed a significant amount of time due to injury. I think Lamar Jackson is a fine player. I'm not saying he's a top 10 quarterback. I don't believe he is. Skill-wise, I don't believe he is. I believe that he's a fantastic runner. Now, if you want to talk about mobile quarterbacks, he's definitely top 5. But if we're talking about staying back in the pocket passers, which is what wins Super Bowls, no, he's not. So, we'll see, man. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, that's about it, man. That's pretty much all I had to say. I've been right on this. Just like the Ben Simmons thing, that was the other thing. I was right on that too. I mean, and I'm a casual sports fan. I watch games when I can, and I'm not too much involved in what's happening. Like, I'm not sitting here on a computer or on the phone researching the stats all fucking day. Not doing that. I go by what I see and how I see them play and what I can see. And so far, I've been right on these two. I think Lamar Jackson is a good player. I think that he has potential, but he has to work on the passing. And even Michael Vick came out and said, not too long ago, I think like a year ago or sometime, but he came out and said, I wish I would have worked on my passing when I was younger before I got to the league. I mean, if that doesn't say it all, I don't know what will. But that's it, man. I'm done.